This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined by over Zoom this Monday evening with Mr. Gareth A. Davies. Gareth, been up and down the Essex Riviera today, yeah?
I have. I've been on the Riviera, well, or the estuary as they call it, really, or the estuary, with the old paddleboard and the bicycle. Leon Sea to the Garrison, 19 miles on the bike, while you're pulled over and some. Where are you? You're on the hard shoulder somewhere, are you? Because it looks like there's things zipping next to you on the motorway.
No, I'm actually outside my house because it's a little bit loud in there today. So
Is
bit
there consternation going on? Is it the usual party town going on in your house right now?
potentially a little Monday night event in the
Riviera party.
Pugh household. Gareth, let's get to Saturday just gone. Johnny Fisher
Yeah.
stopped by Dave Allen in the fifth round of their rematch. Before we pick it apart, just your reaction to what you saw in the ring, what was about 48 hours ago.
Brilliant performance by Dave Allen. Johnny Fisher. I mean, the weird mirror image of the first fight where Johnny Fisher goes down in the fifth round. But I think I agree with a lot of analysis is out there already that is very precise, which is Dave Allen was weighing him up for 4 rounds. I gave Johnny Fisher, it was a close first round. I gave Johnny first four rounds of the fight. And then Dave Allen very cleverly, sneakily in the clinch, old manned him, if you like, and brought his experience to bear. I think I've seen your interviews with Johnny Fisher after seeing the interviews with Dave Allen, and I agree that, well, I mean, they are the fighters in the fight. Johnny felt like he didn't let his hands go enough when he could have earlier on in the fight, and Dave Allen admitted that the shots to the body from Johnny Fisher were hard, and that maybe Johnny should have let his hands go a little bit more than he was and shouldn't have boxed within himself so much. Brilliant victory for Dave Allen. As you know, I believe he won the first fight. It caused all that controversy. You know, there's a line now that Big John has drawn, which is fair enough. It's fair enough from his perspective. It's not fair enough from mine because I've never done anything bad to John or Johnny, and they've never done anything bad to me, to be fair, other than disagreeing with me. I saw your interviews with Johnny Fisher afterwards. I really liked that he showed his emotion and he picked himself up afterwards and said, I'll dust myself down and I will come back from this. He's got his family around him like strong scaffolding. It's difficult to see exactly where he goes and who the opponents are next. But just to shorten this bit and the conversation about it, he will come back because he won't leave it at that. He's fought a very good, very underrated heavyweight. And I wouldn't mind seeing Dave Allen now in with a Dillian White, in good condition in with a Dillian White, or maybe a David Adelaide for the British title.
Yeah, just start off with Dave Allen because it was Dave Allen's night in there in the Copper Box on Saturday. How impressed were you with his capabilities to finish Johnny? Something that he couldn't do in the fifth round of their first fight in December.
Well, they weren't lying about his conditioning this time, and he fought within himself for 4 rounds. He walked Johnny down, but didn't throw a lot of punches. He was sizing the young man up and looking to the younger man up and looking to take him to the later rounds. He believed he could stop him. He knew he could hurt him because he hurt him in the first fight. And living off that confidence, I think he took that into the second fight. And I don't think Jamie Moore or Dave Allen, even though he said he was raiding the fridge at midnight most days, and you know there was nothing wrong with popcorn and drinks at the cinema when he went at the moment. He really did get in very good condition, and you could see that in spite of the white rhino's little belly that he carries around with him. It was just a really good performance by Dave Allen, who knew he had the beating of Johnny Fisher and capitalized on it, and is really allowed his stock to rise as a result. And you know, because of all the controversy about should he have won the first fight, and Big John's reaction to it, and Big John going out there and taking everyone on and defending his son, it made it a bigger fight. So there were a lot of I told you so's out there. I'm not amongst them because I felt for Johnny when he was horribly knocked out on Saturday night. I just wanted him to be well and get back to the family and get back in there and start to build his career again. But there were a lot of people. It was a very popular victory, let's say, in British boxing for Dave Allen.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll agree. Whilst it is a popular a victory for Dave, that's no reflection on Johnny. It's just Dave's a very, very popular guy and has been throughout his career.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people dislike Johnny. I think Johnny's a really likable guy, and I think they both acted like utter gentlemen throughout it, even to the point where Dave Allen didn't really celebrate in the ring when he saw Johnny knocked out before he even landed. So all of that was a very good advert for boxing in the way they both carried themselves. I just think that because it was the Copper Bosch with 8,000, I mean, the atmosphere looked amazing. And I was in the studio at Talk Sport and we'd watched it up to the fifth round before we went live on air at 10 o'clock, because round about 10 was the witching hour for Johnny Fisher, wasn't it? It was the fifth round just after 10 o'clock. So I think because a lot of fans thought that Dave Allen was hard done by in that first fight in Riyadh, his victory has made him more popular as a result. I don't think people have been getting on Johnny Fisher's back because Johnny Fisher is dislikable in any way whatsoever. But I think they've been getting on his back because he got the result in Riyadh. When I've got to say, I'm not going to change my view. I thought the boxing gods were smiling on him that night.
Yeah, look, I kind of want to just put a close to this now, and that's the saga between you and the family. You've been around them for a good portion of this week, and it's been frosty. You've said that yourself,
Mm.
but you did have a relationship there at some stage. Would you like to get that relationship back, moving away from the whole Dave Allen fight now?
Oh, in a heartbeat. If Johnny Fisher was doing an interview and TalkSport wanted me to do it, or the Telegraph wanted me to do a big piece about the family and this phenomenon, who's boxed from Romford, who was a rugby player and a history grad at university and decides to take up boxing. I think we know more about what the family have gone through as well, which Johnny revealed at the weekend, about the debt they got themselves out of as well. We didn't know that. I certainly didn't know that. Of course, in a heartbeat, I'd go and do an interview. I have no malice. As I say, let me repeat this. I took no pleasure at all in seeing Johnny get horribly knocked out. I felt for him. All I cared about was he got up, that he got his air, that he got up, he got back to the bosom of the family, that everything was fine. And I watched all the interviews, the Matchroom interviews, your interview with him, your interview. I think you interviewed Big John as well, didn't you?
Yep.
You interviewed everyone on Saturday night. You were in the dressing room afterwards. And all I care about is that he got home healthy and that he rebuilds his career again. I liked him saying, by the way, it might have been to you, it might have been to Matchroom, my O's gone and there's a bit of pressure off me now. And I like the way he's looking at it in a positive sense rather than a negative sense, because he came up against a very, very underrated, very talented heavyweight who got himself in the right shape of mind and frame of mind to have a second fight with him. A guy who's been in with Dillian White, Tony Yoka, a WBC world title challenger, an Olympic gold medalist, Fraser Clark, an Olympic bronze medalist, Trying to think of the others. Luis Ortiz, another world title challenger. David Price, one of the biggest punchers in British boxing. He's got a resume of big names. So no, there is no bad feeling. There was never any bad feeling. All I did was just stuck up to view that I didn't agree with the judges' scoring. I thought they were way off, and that was that. And to that man who was claiming to be John's brother last week in the video interview with IFL, that was naughty. He was just a member of the Bull Army. It wasn't John's brother who I had the chat with, but at least it was. Listen, Johnny will have learnt from this. He's an intelligent guy, and he will be back. Where he goes exactly at the moment, we don't know, but he's with one of the great promoters in the world, and they'll find a way back for him.
Very well said, Gareth. Just going to move on to a few talking points. Harlem Eubank versus Jack Catrell has been announced. You right, G?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just putting my cable in because I need to keep the battery going. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. I'm listening.
Harlem Eubank versus Jack Catrell has been announced for the 5th of July. Jack Catrell moving up to 147 for this fight, career 140-pounder. What do you make of it as a comeback for Jack and a step up for Harlem?
It's a really good fight. It's a really clever fight to make. Everybody's moving to welterweight. I really like that fight for Harlem Eubank as well. He's looked really strong at 140. He's developed really incrementally. He's got Eubank Senior, Chris Eubank Senior in the background for him, managing him. Who wouldn't want him in your background, and who all the foreground come to that? It's some really, really good fight. Catrell moving up to welterweight plays into that whole scenario of if Josh Taylor goes well against Echo Esserman this weekend, there's a trilogy fight there, so that's a possibility. Just on that, because I know you're going to ask me anyway, Josh Taylor and Echo Esserman is a real test of what Josh Taylor's got left on Saturday night. He's been out a while. If you count the first Catrell fight as a loss, Josh has lost on the bounce since being undisputed champion at 140. I really like that fight. I'm going for a narrow points victory for Josh Taylor, even though I spoke to Echo Esserman over the weekend and he said, I'm going to give him a big test. And those two know each other from the British amateur days up in Sheffield. So that's fascinating. Everybody's moving to welterweight. Taylor, Catrell, Eubank, Ben's there. Tio Lopez is moving up to welterweight. Ryan Garcia, Boots Ennis. It is... You could do a Murderer's Row top 10 right now and loads of amazing matchups. It's the sexiest division outside, probably outside heavyweight, because there's something sexier about that division even than light heavyweight.
Yeah, how pleased are you that 147 division's kind of getting back on track? Because there was that little lull period, wasn't there, in the glory days of Mayweather, Pacquiao, and then maybe that 5 years in between Crawford and Spence not fighting each other for so long. Since then, it's really coming on now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they hold Spence and Crawford held those belts without aligning to make that undisputed until they did. In my view, 18 months later than it could have been. Obviously, there was the car accident for Spence, and I don't think he was the same afterwards. Even though I'd always picked Terence Crawford to win narrowly, not by dominance as he did win in what was a great night anyway. Yeah, it's 147 has always been a great division. I spent many years covering it when Mayweather was in and around that division, dominating. Obviously, Amir Khan went up to welterweight. Ricky Hatton fought to welterweight. Manny Pacquiao still fighting at welterweight. Close your eyes, put your hands over your eyes, whatever you do.
Gareth,
When is it? In July?
Sorry, Gareth, to cut in there, but do you feel comfortable with that fight?
No, Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. I don't feel comfortable that he's been. I understand how boxing works, that they're giving a massive, huge opportunity that will make money, and Mario Barrios isn't going to say no to it. The WBC ought to have a good look at themselves and a good think about it. The fact they've sanctioned that bout. But also, I'm worried about Manny Pacquiao. He's just failed a senatorial race in the Philippines, and at 46, having not fought for 4 years, after a loss to Ordenis Ugas as well at welterweight that we weren't expecting, that he's back in the ring against a young stud who likes a war. I'm slightly worried about his health going into that as well. I've seen him arrive in Los Angeles airport in the last 24 hours with Jinky and his son. Emmanuel Pacquiao is also on the undercard, his son, isn't he? I think he's 20 now, something like that. When father and sons are boxing on the same card, you know that a guy is probably past it.
Two more things, Gareth, before I let you go. A statement was released today by Queensbury saying that Frank Warren and Chris Eubank Jr. have amicably settled their legal dispute. Later that day, Frank has now done an interview with Box Nation and said they'll be open to working together on a fight with Hamza Sheeraz should he get through Berlanga or Denzel Bentley. This is good, isn't it? That one of the biggest names in boxing right now, Chris Eubank Jr., has settled a beef, a long-term dispute with probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest, British promoters in the UK right now.
Oh, no, I think Frank Warren is the biggest promoter in the UK right now. You look at his stable; it's extraordinary at the moment. It's really good to see. Obviously, them breaking bread is a very good thing, and putting the comments to rest. We know there's history between them. There's previous in terms of legal matters, and that Chris Eubank Jr. was forced to pay Frank money in the past. I'm glad they've settled the dispute. We want them to work together. I really like Hamza Sheeraz against Chris Eubank at super middleweight. It's a brilliant. They're both going to be big names. If Sheeraz can handle Edgar Berlanga in the United States come July, that's a big fight for him and a big ask for him. Berlanga's very hittable, but hits very hard. And as we saw at the press conference, he wants heat with Hamza Sheeraz, and he believes he's going to hurt him and stop him. Now, we've seen Hamza put in a below-par performance against Carlos Adames in a fight that I scored, again, without wanting to put the Sheeraz's noses out of joint now for the next 6 months. A fight that I felt he lost against Carlos Adames. The boxing gods were smiling on him when he got the draw out in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But Eubank against Sheeraz is potentially a really big fight, as is Eubank against Saul Canelo Alvarez in the UK. That's a really big fight. It's just good to see the guys bury the hatchet and know that they'll talk and work together. And if the two men don't talk together, at least their teams are going to deal with each other.
Certainly. Last thing, and I feel like for some reason you know more about this than anybody else, Gareth. Is Tyson Fury coming back?
I think he is. You must have seen things I've been saying and writing, and look, I'm getting hints from lots of different sides. You don't speak to one person to find out these things. You dip your toe in the water, you put your finger up in the air, you pull the sand out of the beach and throw it into the estuary and see which and where it lands and what the shape it makes. And the shape says that Tyson Fury, the rumours, the whispers, the Chinese whispers, the Instagram posts coming in lots of different directions, things seem to be pointing, if the sands are pointing in the right direction, to a fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury later in autumn, in the biggest stadium in the UK. Tyson Fury's got the itch back. John Fury, Spencer Brown, Frank Warren, friends of Tyson Fury, people wanting to say, I want a bit of being in his corner. John Fury saying he wants to be in his corner, wants to train him. Sugar Hill Steward popping up out of nowhere in Morecambe. I think the signs are in the crystal ball that Tyson Fury's got an itch he needs to scratch, and it'll probably be against Anthony Joshua, who's going to be out for a couple of months. That will take him to July, and then maybe he could get ready in August, September, and we can have a fight in October. That's what's happening behind the scenes at the moment. Let's see what transpires.
Do you believe if/when Tyson Fury comes back, it's straight into the Joshua fight? And likewise,
I think it's the best fight. I think it's the best fight to have. No warm-ups, no point. These guys are wealthy beyond belief. I've said before, if Tyson Fury wasn't going to come back, I could see Anthony Joshua fighting Deontay Wilder. I've told you this on an interview, a Zoom interview, you and I, a week or 2 weeks ago. If Wilder beats Herndon, I could see Joshua fighting Wilder. I could see that fight happening. But if Fury wants the fight with Joshua, I think he'd take that one in a heartbeat. I think they both would. If they're ready and they want it, I think they'd go for it.
Excellent, Gareth. I think we've covered everything. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
I think I've said enough for today, and I'm quite sunburnt today.
I think you look rather good, Gareth. I think, yeah, you look like you have just done a lot of paddleboarding, enjoying the high life, mate.
Baller, baller, baller on the estuary.
Wow. How many people come up to you today and ask for a photo whilst you was down the estuary?
And people didn't ask for a photo. They were asking how many people? About 4. Yeah, but just saying, were you there at the fight of the weekend? A lot of people were interested in the outcome, what I thought about the outcome of Allen and Fisher. And they're all asking, do you think Fury's coming back? You know.
Well, we all want him to, and yeah, we thankfully know that Johnny Fisher is okay now. So move on to another big week of boxing. Doncaster on Friday and Glasgow on Saturday. Gareth, I shall catch up with you when I next see you, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Joel.